What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. The preseason is more than halfway done for our Spurs, and I kind of want to take a look at how players are doing so far. Talk to you guys about who I feel is, kind of achieving what I thought they would, maybe underachieving, who might be cut from the roster when the season starts, and get your thoughts on who so far has met expectations or has not met them. Who you proud of, who you disappointed of, etc. Of course, drop a comment down below as we're going over this. Hit that thumbs up if you like sports channel. It's fast, free, fun, nutritious, and delicious. And subscribe for more San Antonio Spurs content. So first off, I got to give mad props to basketball.realgm.com being one of the only sites I could find these statistics on. Not easy to find preseason statistics. Take all these stats with a grain of salt, as a lot of the players are playing less minutes than they would in the regular season, and it is the preseason and Pop's tinkering with the lineups. That being said, I'm going to go more stats-wise, a little bit of analysis of what I've seen with my own eyeballs, because I did not get to see the Spurs versus Jazz game as it was not televised. So there's that. Let's just get into this. So our leading scorer so far is Kelvin Johnson at 17 points per game. We asked who might be the leading scorer going to the regular season. I thought he might be one of the guys I put on the top of the list, and so far he is. And you can see our leading rebounders, assists, blocks, steals, etc. I'm going to go over the stats for each player now. So KJ is at number one with those 17 points per game in 25 minutes. Spurs fans, if you stretch that out over about, we'll say 33 minutes, which I think he could get as a starter this season, that's over 20 points per game. That's around that 21 to 22 range. Could he take over that role DeMar DeRozan had with the Spurs and being our leading scorer? Definitely possible. The thing with Kelvin Johnson so far in the preseason is a tale of two Kelvins. First half Kelvin, not playing his best basketball. Second half Kelvin's like beast mode's activated. Like Pop says something to him at halftime, and he just all of a sudden he's hulking up, and the madder he gets, the stronger Hulk gets. He reminds me of running backs like Derrick Henry, who in the first half might have 50 rushing yards, but by the time the game's over, he has 200 because he blows up in the second half. That being said, Kelvin's shooting just under 50% from the field. He is struggling from beyond the arc at 22%. Free throws right around 80%. Rebounding numbers are very low right now, so I expect that to go up in the regular season. Not contributing so much in the passing or defensive end statistically, but I think those will all improve as the regular season continues on. Kelvin's not a player I'm worried about. I think he's going to have a good year. If he can average 20 points per game, he will be a contender for most improved player. Moving right along, this one's a surprise. Brent Forbes is our second leading scorer, averaging 15.7 points per game, coming off the bench in less than 20 minutes, and he's shooting very well. 57% from the arc. This seems to be the role that he was built for. He's not a starter, and he's not going to be a starter, but coming off the bench and hitting big buckets when we need him and scoring like he is, yeah, he's a turnstile in defense, but we know that. We expect him to give us offense, and he's doing that. And you know what? I'll be more than happy to eat my words saying Brent Forbes. I didn't like the signing if this dude continues what he's doing and fills that Patty Mills role and averages 13 to 15 points off the bench in limited action. So Brent Forbes, probably one of my biggest surprises of preseason so far. Jonty Murray, he did miss one game for rest. Pretty much doing what I expect. I think he's going to be fine in the regular season. I think he's probably going to average between 17 and 19 points per game, and then 7 and 7 somewhere in there. Really getting a lot of steals right now. He's been really good at anticipating, passing lanes. So DeJounte, I like what I'm seeing so far, and he's so far fulfilled my expectations. Let's drop down a little bit for Derek White. In the preseason, has not been very kind to Derek White, at least when it comes to the shooting side of things. He's shooting under 30%, really struggling from the field, really struggling from beyond the arc, as is actually a lot of the team. I think that will get corrected. My only concern is sometimes preseason can carry over into the regular season. Basketball is a physical game, but it is a mental game as well. And I just know myself, and you probably do when we're playing hoops, you hit some shots in a row, you start to feel it, and you're confident with your shot. You miss 3 or 4 shots in a row, you start thinking about it, and you start pressing, and start thinking about angles and how much force you're putting on the ball, and that can really mess you up. So hopefully Derek's shooting struggles in the preseason get corrected, and it doesn't carry over into the regular season. That being said, I don't know if I'm completely sold as DeJounte and Derek in the starting lineup together. A lot of you said Derek off the bench. Like, I could see him leading the second unit, possibly Lonnie Walker starting. However, Lonnie's got some issues, which we'll get to in just a few moments. Doug McDermott is our 5th leading scorer, and he's doing what we thought he would. He's hitting threes, making some shots. So far, met my expectations. I think he's just going to continue that throughout the season. Going to be probably a 12 to 15 points per game type of guy and give us some big threes when we need them. Devin Vassell, didn't realize he's our 6th leading scorer at 8 points per game in just under 20 minutes. He is, I've seen a mid-range jumper in his game a lot more than I believe I saw last year. We know he can hit the 3, and he's been hitting the 3 at a pretty good clip, but he's taking more mid-range jumpers, and if he can keep the defense honest with a mid-range jumper and his three-point jumper and show some ability to get to the rim, he could have a fine season. He very well likely will average in double digits points per game if he gets the minutes. Also, I see he's got, what's the 5 there? He's actually rebounding very well, 5 rebounds per game. So, all right, I like what I'm seeing so far. My man, Luka Samonic, in just 9.7 minutes per game, he's averaging 7.7 points. Times that by 3, that's over 20 points per game. He is not going to get enough minutes this year to average 20 points per game. And watching Luka, you guys know I'm rooting for him. He's been very sloppy at times and looked like maybe he's trying a little too hard. There's been some stuff that makes me scratch my head and go, oh man, Luka, why? And then there's other times where I'm like, go Luka, and he makes a great play. So he's a player I have concerns for. As I see some websites saying he could be a surprise cut, some of you have said that as well. I hope not. This is a first-round pick only in his 3rd year. He's still in his early 20s, and he has not had much of an opportunity to play. I know some of you said, let's just put Luka out there to see that he stinks, and then we can get rid of him. You know what? I'd rather get him out there and get 15 minutes a game and prove to us that he doesn't belong. I prefer that he does belong than just have him sit on the bench or just get cut and we'll never know. I'd rather get one of the vets, which I'll get to in just a moment, than give up on Luka already. I see potential. I think this is the year he's got to show the Spurs something, and he showed us some flashes, but he's also made some mistakes. He is still young. Drew Eubanks. How about Drew? Drew has been playing with absolute tenacity, ferocity off the bench, and throwing down some monster thunder dunks of justice. Last night he threw down 2 huge ones, 2 double-handed, don't fake the funk on the nasty dunks. I like what I'm seeing from Drew. It's what I expected. I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to give the same quality he did off the bench last year and maybe hit a surprise 3 once in a while. So Drew so far has met my expectations. Lonnie Walker. Woo! Man, Lonnie Walker, some shade been thrown at Lonnie in the my live chats as he has struggled mightily so far, just shooting a little over 25% from the field, and another Spur that's just struggling immensely from beyond the arc. Now, he is launching shots. He's been aggressive. He's taking shots, but they are not going in. And my one concern with Lonnie Walker, even though it's just a preseason, is he is a confidence-driven player, if you will. When Lonnie's on his game and he's playing, he's a fantastic player, and he will make a shot from beyond the arc, inside, dunk. He'll anywhere on the floor. But when he is struggling, he starts missing shots left and right. Right now, he is struggling, and I worry that if this continues throughout the last few games of the preseason, will it carry over into the regular season? And if he's struggling like this in the regular season, he's going to see his minutes cut. Not only that, this is a contract year for Lonnie Walker. This is a huge year. If he has a good season and the Spurs see potential, they will obviously re-sign him for 3 or 4 years. If they take a look at Lonnie and see pretty much the same thing as he did last year, or he regresses in some way, they're more than likely not going to re-sign him, as we still have a plethora of guards. And we have our 18-year-old Josh Primo, who, while he won't get probably much, if any, minutes this year, certainly waiting in the wings. So I do have some concerns with Lonnie right now, just because he's such a streaky player, and right now he's in a funk. Hopefully it's only a preseason funk. No matter what I say about any San Antonio Spurs player, for the record, I hope they succeed, because if they're succeeding, our team is succeeding. Moving right along, Jock Landale, limited action. So far, I like what I see. I like what I see from Jock. Play some good defense. He's launching threes. He's not making all of them, but at least he has made them. And he's obviously a rookie, but I like what I see so far. He could be a quality backup or starter. Who knows? Maybe in a year or 2. Some people say he could be starting by the end of the year. I don't know if I'd go that far, but time will tell. Hey, there he is, Optimus Primo, Joshua Primo, a rookie sensation, if you will, from the Spurs. Look, he's had 1 game where he went absolutely off. Spurs fans were chanting his name at the end. The last 2 games, he's not played bad, but he also hasn't scored. He's 18 years old. I was on the hype train a little bit. We got to temper our expectations. Joshua Primo, no matter what he does this preseason, it's going to be in the G League. And you know what? I'm totally cool with that. Because you know why? I'd rather have Josh get 20, 25, whatever minutes, maybe more in the G League, get some time on the floor, own his game, than sit on the bench and do nothing in San Antonio. It's just, it's going to happen, and I think he does potentially have a bright future in the NBA just from what I've seen. There's a lot of good qualities, but he's young. Let's give him some time, and in a year or 2 or maybe 3, he could be our top scorer if he develops the way we hope and think he can. Al-Farouq Amino has only played 1 game, and I think that's a telling sign. I don't think he's long for the Spurs. He's part of that deal that sent DeMar DeRozan to the Chicago Bulls, and while we'll prefer Lauri Markkanen instead of the 2 forwards they sent, that didn't happen. I don't see him staying here. I think he fits our plans. No disrespect to him. He's a journeyman. I'm sure he'll find work on another team. But as far as the San Antonio Spurs go, I don't think he's going to make the roster. Jakob Poeltl, as far as preseason goes, scoring wise, not doing a whole heck of a lot, but grabbing some rebounds, blocking shots, doing Jakob things, if you will. He's going to be our starter. It's his job to lose. If he plays poorly, could he lose it to Drew Eubanks or Jacques Lindell down, further through the season as the season progresses? Maybe, but right now it's his starting job, no doubt. The other forward we got from the Chicago Bulls, Thaddeus Young. Wow. I gotta say, I've seen him make some really good plays. Took 2 charges, I believe, in 1 quarter, and then there's other times where he went full Butterfingers mode and was open and just couldn't handle a pass. He's another player I just don't feel like is here long term. He's north of 30. The Spurs are in the youth movement. Maybe they want to keep a vet around. Seems like they're trying to work him into the lineup, but I'm not so sure. I really don't know what the Spurs are going to do, but I think 2 forwards are going. Either Thaddeus and Al Farouk, or one of the Bulls forwards and Luka. I'm going to be very upset about that. KBD doing things in his one game. I mean, he's a backup. He gives us, in a little bit of time, he's usually out there quality minutes, plays solid defense, shows some offensive moves, but he could be a player that gets cut when we got to get to our final roster cut. And last but not least, Joe Wieskamp, he's going to G League. No disrespect, Joe. You're a sharpshooter. Hopefully things work out for you in your NBA career, but you are a second-round pick. And we just don't have the minutes to give players. He's going to be in the G League, and hopefully he develops. And I definitely am excited to see what Primo and Wieskamp to do in the G League, if that's his first plans, which I do think they are. So, wow, much longer video than I thought it would be. That's my 2 cents in the preseason so far. I'll do a preseason wrap-up a day or two after the last preseason game. We'll claim the Spurs fan. I'll have them on my channel. We'll talk about kind of what I'm talking about here. What do we think about the players? What's going to happen moving into the season? So far, it's been frustrating for Spurs fans, as we have looked pretty bad at times in the last 2 games, and especially last night. When you're playing a team in the Miami Heat that's resting I think they rested all but 1 starter or all their starters, and they only dressed 8 men. And we have a lot of our starters out there, and we still lose. That's a cause for concern. It is a preseason, though, so take it with a grain of salt, but that's a game I still think we should have won. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and until next time, and as always, go Spurs, go!